next presenter from Malaysia. This company believes that human capital is a key driver in economic growth. It provides a platform where it connects qualified and right human resources. Please welcome Ms. Melissa Kim, Country Director of CXS Analytics.
Second woman on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you with one global crisis. By 2025, 50% of the jobs that we know will cease to exist. And that's just around the corner. But that is only the tipping point. 85% of the future workforce is not even, the work has not even been created yet. Skills and knowledge that we know now are irrelevant in the next 2 years. In South Korea alone, your unemployment rate is now at its highest peak at 4.2, with a youth unemployment rate of 9.2%. So how do we keep our workforce staying agile? How do we keep them relevant? This is where CXS comes in. Sorry. We are a human development organization that uses machine learning to understand individuals. Firstly, we look into what motivates them, what makes them wake up in the morning, because motivation has a direct correlation to performance. We then look into their strengths and challenges. How can they then keep improving themselves and being relevant? We look into their values. What is the core motivation of each and every individual within your workforce? Is it money? Is it work-life balance? Is it more family time? We're able to do this, and with the competency frameworks and analytics that we have, we can then feed the information back to the government for them to make data-driven decisions and policy changes, using human capital as a driver of economic growth. How we do this is in 3 simple steps. First, you look into the supply. What sort of talents are your institutions currently producing? Are they aligned to the demand market where the enterprises are? Companies are now innovating. They're looking for new workforce to help them meet their mission for the next 5 to 10 years. And when we understand the analytics between the supply and the demand, we can then understand the gaps and push the supply chain onto upskilling needs. When we look into the supply chain, what we are saying now is CVs are irrelevant. Take away what you have studied. If I can ask on the floor, who of you is currently doing a job that has got nothing to do with whatever you have studied? Can I please have a show of hands? So little. I'm one of them. So we did a study in Malaysia. Out of 40,000 graduates, only 21% is career aligned with their choice of education. This means if Malaysia is looking for 100 data professionals, only 21 will graduate and go into the workforce. The balance of the 79% may enter the workforce but quit after 2 years, or they will just drop out and move into another segment. Then you look into the demand segment. We look into organizations and help them keep a health track of their workforce. You look into where the gaps are and you mold it and you fix issues and you optimize the entire team. And when you understand the supply and the demand shortfall, this is an actual live case study that we did in a country in ASEAN. It's anonymized, so I can't say where. But it can clearly show that this country is actually producing more social science students as opposed to the demand market, which is looking for ICT graduates. So with these analytics, governments can then make better decisions in helping the economy. This is a case study that CXS was commissioned to do by MDEC, the Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation of Malaysia, looking into the top 20 highest, sexiest startups in Malaysia. We've profiled the entire workforce, looking into what are the key profiles that are needed to drive the company's mission, and we look also into the values of the CEOs. With this information, the government can then identify who are the startups that they can help nurture and give incentives to in that sense. Next is a human development portal that we've signed an agreement with Talent Corp, which is an agency under the Ministry of Human Resource. Every year, 300 graduates will be onboarded here, and we'll do a profiling of their career alignment in seeing whether there's gaps in meeting the industry demands. We have also signed a collaboration with Alibaba Cloud to help Malaysia find the next 20,000 data professionals, which is the agenda for Malaysia by 2020. This is a replica of a China portal that's already been implemented 2 years ago, and Alibaba has already upskilled 210,000 data professionals. We won a tender with the Singapore government, the National Trade Union Congress, where we upskilled 20,000 union workers and 2,000 of their heads. That's the minister there. Our current traction is actually over 32 countries. These are just the core from Norway, Malaysia, and Singapore, attracting all government, enterprise, and education. Our business model is simple. We always hit the education segment first. We need to dominate the market and get learning analytics data in order to feed them to the government to make decisions and then match them to basically the enterprises. Our first year performance last year was at USD 10 million. Our current pipeline is at half a billion in the next 2 years. Current value of our company is at 100 million USD. We've also been documented by Gartner under how we will work in the future. This was specific to the Talent Corp portal that we've built with Malaysia. And this is CXS. We have 8 international sales centers with our global HQ in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentations. Could you help me understand your group structure in terms of the corporate structure of your company? Headquarters was probably, in my understanding, was in Norway,
Yep.
right?
So the solution started 17 years old in Norway, 17 years ago. My now CEO was actually a staff there, but Scandinavians, they only wanted to scale Europe. So what he decided to do, he saw opportunity in Asia, because there's 600 million people here. We want to actually help the workforce. So he took the solution to Singapore first. And after the first year of operations, we actually bought over 53% of the Norwegian company. So that's why we're deemed a startup in Malaysia now, and we've moved our global HQ. In terms of sales centers, we own 51% of majority of the sales centers in the country, and we have local partners that is actually managing it.
Actually, they're really great product services.
Thank
But just one question: that the data accuracy could be very critical for analysts analyzing all the
Yeah.
information. But when you gather the information, how do you do it? I mean, you do the survey.
It's a self-assessment test. So basically, it's self-actualization first and foremost for the individual. So that accuracy is at 89%. But what we always tell companies and governments to also do is to feed in legacy data. The more data points that we feed in, the more accurate the data will be. This can be sick leave, it can be KPIs, performance, and the more data that we feed in, we can hit an accuracy of 98%.
So my understanding of your company so far was that you guys are based sort of in analytics for
Yes.
people going into careers, and you're servicing educational institutions, policymakers, employers.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys have a really good pipeline because of the data, just in terms of where people want to go. Are you also planning on or already providing like career transitional services or other content related
In
services?
Singapore, we are. Singapore, we actually is working with Workforce Singapore, and we've trained 2,000 of their career counselors in using our solution to help map better career choices for their graduates. In Malaysia, we're doing the same under the Next portal. Mexico as well.
Just last question.
Yes.
What can you do? What would you like to do in Korea? So.
Take over the world. First and foremost is investment. We've pretty much bootstrapped our way through the entire time, but we're actually looking at 30 million USD investments, but also some workforce analytics that we can actually help the government as well to make better decisions moving forward. Yeah,
That's it for Q&A. Thank you.
thank you.
Connectivity is a keyword to express this startup. It features reliable, high-speed network integration to empower business innovation. Please welcome Mr. Rami, CTO of Swag Technologies.
So SWAG stands for Super Wi-Fi Anywhere You Go. And the problem that we solve is we look at places where infrastructure, I see you like the name, where infrastructure for internet is basically subpar. So rural areas, suburban areas, areas where you don't have access to fiber. That's our focus, which is 98% of the population. So as you all know, modern applications like Tinder require a reliable internet. And if you take fiber out of the equation, then you're left with mobile operators and DSL, which if individually are often insufficient for today's applications. So our motto is that the best network is actually all networks combined. So our technology, which is now patented, works with any type of mobile technology or wired technology and can be deployed overnight without the prohibitive costs of laying fiber to a new area. So this is an example of how it works. In this example, we have 3 LTE SIM cards. LTE1, LTE2, LTE3, each one running between 40 and 70 Mbps. When you put them together, all your applications now have access to the combined bandwidth, so up to 170 Mbps in this case. So for high speeds, it's not really interesting or relevant, but it's sexy, that's why I put it there. But our use cases are when the speeds are actually really low on each individual network, and we can bring up the speed to something more usable. So the user also experiences the latency of the lowest latency network through the optimizations in our software. So we have a big software team, we have a software team and hardware teams, and we integrated this technology into 3 products. So we're working on the 3rd one, but the 2 first ones are ready. The first one, SWAG 1 Plus, is basically one wired port and one mobile LTE module. And we targeted at ISPs who have a DSL infrastructure and who possess also ideally an operator, mobile operator, so they can combine their assets through convergence and enhance the speeds on their DSL subscribers' broadband without putting too much strain on their mobile network. So we have basically an affordable option that we white label for ISPs. Then we have a more premium option that we work with MVNOs to market, where we combine multiple SIM cards from multiple operators to give the optimal connectivity to businesses, mainly broadcasting events. I'll speak a bit more about this one. So I'm going to focus on this one for this presentation because of time constraints. And we're working on a miniature version of our of the hardware, basically, that will clip to the back of your phone. So you have your SIM card in your phone, and you have an additional SIM card, like basically a MiFi. Clip it to the back of your phone, and through an app on your smartphone, you now have access to 2 mobile networks, more reliability, more speed. So the one I brought with me here has basically 3 SIM slots, so it can combine the speeds from 3 different mobile operators, as well as 1 wired operator, and you have a LAN port to connect it to your network. So that's the box right here. You connect it via wire to your existing network, or you connect via Wi-Fi to your devices if you're on the go. And the way it works is, let's say you're a camera and you're broadcasting a video. The data will be broken down and sent over all the networks according to the properties of the networks. So more on the network that has more bandwidth, obviously. And then it will be put back together on the server before it's being sent to the destination, so that it looks like normal traffic on both ends. So it's seamless on both ends, basically. It looks like normal internet traffic. So always the best speed, more reliability. If one network goes down, not a problem. We built in VPN and encryption to protect the data even more. And obviously the fact that it's going over multiple networks adds a layer of obfuscation, so it's even harder for attackers to intercept your data. We work with top module makers to support worldwide networks. And it's plug and play with all devices, all network setups, and also vehicles. So ideally, like the use cases for this are live streams, like I said, events. So companies basically we're not live yet. We're launching at the end of the year. We've got lots of pre-orders from these types of companies. Also companies who have locations in remote sites that don't have access to fiber are very interested in this product. Transport, fleet tracking, all kinds of companies. Basically, when you're on the go, you definitely have no access to fiber, so this is your next best option. And for offices, and we powered offices in Kuwait and in Malaysia, and now we're looking at ATMs in the banking sector. So we have a US patent granted, and we filed in 21 regional and national phases. And we've been funded through grants from the Malaysian government, as well as bootstrapping. We're doing our Series A now. In Korea, we'd love to look for MVNO or ISP partners to maybe launch the product in Korea or launch the product with them outside of Korea. So I'll take your questions then. Thanks for your time.
Swag. Yeah, so I'm glad you guys took the Y out because swag sounds better than swag. But
Sorry? Yeah,
that Y, the U. Okay, thank you for your presentation. And just first question is, when you guys unbundle that data and then rebundle it through multiple networks, is the cost structure the same for the companies?
Is the what?
The cost structure the same?
So that's why we work with ISPs or MVNOs, so that it can be bundled into one service. So I know that, like in Kuwait, for instance, we're going to work with an MVNO who basically carries wholesale data SIM cards from different MNOs, so they can bundle it as one package. So for the consumer, it's a black box. For the release, we won't have accessible SIM slots, and it's just faster internet branded by the MVNO or the ISP that releases. And for an ISP, it's their own SIM card and their own DSL, so it's one package as well. Yeah.
Right.
But that's definitely a great question.
Yes, we met together yesterday. So I was really interested in the expandability of your product to just like a IPTV provider.
Yeah.
I think they can adapt to your product. And can you explore a little bit more about opportunity you see?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So basically, the problem with IPTV services is if you don't have access to fiber or good enough internet connectivity, then you don't have a market, you don't have clients. So that's where this kind of technology can be a great partner for an IPTV play. And in Malaysia, we're targeting 1.5 million DSL households who are on 8 Mbps and below. And by adding that LTE connection, we can bring it to up to 20 Mbps to meet the government KPIs. And also, the ISP can now target those people with iFlix in Malaysia or Netflix or these types of services. So IPTV is definitely one of the markets that's addressable through this.
What is your rollout strategy for working with maybe telcos and other players in launching your product?
Like the business model? Yeah. Okay, so that's a great question. One of our challenges is that we're a small company and we're in the hardware business. I think that's very, very tough. Like if we're competing with companies like Huawei, we can't compete on the pricing, especially for the hardware. So our model in Malaysia is we work with 3 parties. So we're working on a partnership with Telekom Malaysia, as well as Sanmina, which is one of the top EMS, Flextronics, Sanmina, based in Penang, and ourselves. So how it'll work is Sanmina will make the hardware. We have the design. So we give them a license to make the hardware, to sell it to Telekom Malaysia at cost, and then we only make money on recurring revenue from a software license fee on active units. Yeah. So that's how we sort of cut that gap in the pricing, and we white label obviously for them. Yeah.
So it's going to be more B2B side rather than B2C.
That's our target. In some markets, we might launch directly and sell to still B2B, but to direct customers like enterprise. But ideally, we'd love to partner with telco players so that we can leverage their existing client base and network.
Awesome. Thanks for the swag.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got no rules, I count 'em.
We have another interesting company here from Indonesia. This startup provides a platform where it connects farmers, investors, and buyers to achieve greater sustainability in agriculture. Please welcome Mr. Andreas, CEO of iGrow.
I dive into frozen waves where the past comes back to life.
Hey everyone, I'm Andreas from iGrow. We want to build the largest organic farm funded by you. My mother's family were farmers, but they have problem to get proper income because they don't have enough capital and land, and they are not alone. In Indonesia, there are millions underemployed farmers While on the other side, there are millions hectares underutilized land and millions people ready to participate in farming. That's why we create iGrow. We connect between the farmers, landowners, and investors together to create farming. Then we sell the crops directly to the buyers. We are raising capital from you through our website and give you farm feel-like experience so that you can know how your plantation grow. And after the harvest time, we share the profit among investors and farmers. Just from peanuts alone, we already harvested 2,400 tons of produce that bring 24% annualized return to the investors, and 99% of them are invested in us. Plus, we still have 100 tons of produces harvested for every single month. Consists of 7,300 of banana to one of the largest greenhouse that plant tomato cherry in West Java. Since launching 3 years ago, we're already profitable by making $4 million GMV, and we take 10% of that for our profit. Currently, we are working with 3,500 farmers in 3,000 hectares underutilized land across Indonesia. We're also ready to scale to another country. We already made our farmers' life better, and we changed the way how we utilize our idle land. We are in Indonesia with 40 million hectares underutilized land, and we already secured 24,000 hectares in our pipeline. iGrow already become the best among the other competitors with the best brand and the largest and the highest product, the highest transaction value under our management. That's why we can secure the crop selling to the buyers even before we start planting in day one, and fulfilling almost every fundraising project only in a couple of hours. Our team consists of serial tech entrepreneurs, 10 years experience in agriculture, and the expert in land partnership. We already get seed funding from 500 startups and its ventures, and covered by some global media like TechCrunch and Forbes. So, together with landowners, farmers, and also you, let us build the world's largest organic farm by making our world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. You're living real life Farmville. That's awesome. So if I understand your model correctly, and I think it's a great model, you go out and you find the buyers for this produce, you secure that deal, and then you go and fund the farmers to produce that supply, and in turn you also help them expand their output, but also the land that they need to expand their production.
Yeah, that's right. The first, we secure the demand first. So we never plan any commodities before we secure the demand. So we're looking for the big corporate, we find the exporter to looking for the demand, and we're looking for the farmers, work with a group of farmers that if they need another land, we're looking for the landowners. In Indonesia, there are a lot of landowners, and after that, after all of that secured in the contract or in MOU, we go to our platform and fundraise.
Gotcha. And how many projects have you done so far?
Right now, 32 projects in Kalimantan, Sumatra, Java, and Sulawesi.
Wow.
Who handles the logistics to the consumer end, the buyers?
The buyers who handle that. So when we work with the buyers will come to the field to take the crops when the harvest time already happened. That become the first model. And the second model, our farmers handle the logistic. So we will make some kind of like monitoring and controlling system that will supervise by one surveyor per one site area. They will monitor the money usage, they will monitor the plantation process, and also the harvest time. So when the harvest time, we harvest the crop, we went to the buyers, and then let the buyers take the crops, or let the farmers to send the crops to the buyers.
So it's pretty much a local farming.
Yeah,
idea.
local farming. But we do it in the scalable way. So the way we expand, first we find the farmers who already have skill, experience, and also the capacity to grow the farm. And after that, we give the capital so they can grow the plantation area from maybe 1 hectare or 10 hectare to 100 hectare to 200 hectares. So they can build their own cooperation to manage the supply chain to fulfill the demand of the buyers.
Great. It's the return was 22%, and it is going to share by three players, so farmer, investor, and landowners.
Yeah, the average return for the investors is 15% to the investor only. We take 5 to 10% from the profit selling, and also the farmers also get the profit also. So we never plan any commodities that cannot exceed 30% ROI. So the minimum is 30% ROI. That's why we can give 15% to the investors, we can take 10%, and the farmers alone, they can take the rest.
What are some of the key risks for your business?
Yeah, there's two factors. External risk, we can outsource it to the third party like insurance, and internal risk, the farmers itself. So the credibility of the farmers. That's why we always put one person for every site to monitor and control the process of the farming. So the farmers have the one who will always monitor the activity. We have a lot of experience to handle with the local farmers, and a lot of trick of the farmers that can do to make they're more profitable. But we already know about that. We already can handle about that, and we already know what is the best model to handle with the local farmers.
Thank you.
Great. I know the interest rate is pretty low in Korea, so maybe you'll have a lot of investors here that would like to invest.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So our next company from Indonesia works closely with real estate investors. It aims to contribute in solving Indonesia's housing problems and accelerate economic growth in the property sector. Before we invite Mr. Linga, CEO and founder of Propertree, let's first see the introduction video.
Hello everyone, 안녕하세요. I hope you guys enjoy our video. I'm Lingga. I'm CEO and founder of Propertree.id. I have 4 years experience in I have 4 years experience in property investment sector in Indonesia, and now we built Propertree, who we using technology and innovation to make our business scalable. Okay, this is our business model. The first line, we connect investor with investor and the project itself. So the investor get return from our project, and our project must comply with our grading system, our internal grading system, and our risk management. And also we collaborate with sales agent to make our housing, our asset more liquid. So in Indonesia, so many sales agent, and we collaborate with them. And the last is the landowner itself. We open source to all over landowner in Indonesia come to us and collaborate with us, because land is the very expensive raw material in the property sector. This is our fully funded project. You can check in our website, Propertree.id. Our return on investment to the retail investor today is 8 until 20% per annum. With minimum investment is approximately $650. One lot, minimum lot to invest in our platform per year, and we secure the asset from our retail investor. Today, our investor 202 person to come to our platform, because we just built this platform 4 months, and then boom, so many investors come to our platform, and so many developer come, small and medium, especially for small and medium developers, come to our platform. Together, they offering the project and the investor offering the money, and we connect 20 project now. Today, 20 project, and finish 13 project have already done, and also the fund raised by us today approximately $1 million. Okay, this is our 4 investment focus. The first is like a cluster, housing and development, and then the second one is construction itself, and the third one is the rent, apartment, and in Indonesia, famous name is kontrakan. And the last flip, we buy flipper. We buy the first price from the developer, and we sell again after 2 years and 2 until 3 years later. And this is our grading and philosophy. Like I said before, 5C scoring more than B. So this is our scoring like character, capacity, and collateral. It must be comply with our grading system. And the second one is prudent, discipline with a high standard SOP, and also the value of the project itself. So must be attractive by our customer. Okay, this is actually our first institutional investor to come to Korea. The first investor is individual investor, and now I will offering in right issue scheme this month to investor $1 million for 5% equity. Yeah, it's 550 shares, and looking for the first reputable institution maybe in Korea, and focusing to be the largest property platform in Indonesia. Yeah, thank you. This is our office. Yeah.
All right, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
So it sounds like your platform was taking off well. You mentioned it was built 4 months ago, or?
Yeah, just go online, go live.
Go live 4 months ago,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, we researched, we market fit and validation the market last year. So before I resigned for my job before, and with my friend from my CTO, yeah, we come together and we built this platform.
So in this short time, it seems like you've amassed a decent amount of traction, both the money that you've collected for your platform, also the number of projects you've done. What do you think was the reason for that?
Because of my experience, I have a lot of friends in retail investors in Indonesia, and also the developer who trust me to run the project, and I collaborate with them, and I said I will build this platform. You crazy? It cannot be like platform. Who can you trusted investor to come to platform like that? But this is shifting the world. I think shifting. So many conventional small and medium developers, and in Indonesia, small and medium developer itself is not bankable. Not bankable because of the land. The land cannot, because of the land and because of the regulation itself from the bank. Bank cannot give financing to the land. So if the land has bought by us, and then go to the bank for the next step.
I see.
Yeah, the bridging in the land. So this is important to solve our big problem in Indonesia, 11.4 backlog.
Gotcha.
I think 8 to 20% per annum for ROIs is awesome. But for the sustainability of your businesses or services, I want to understand how your risk profile, when there is a delinquency or a default of your project happens, what are the measures that you can take for protecting the investors?
Yeah, the first of all, we monetize from the cost of fund. We fee base 2 until 5% per funded, and for the risk management of the money investor in property sector, the asset is real. So if we buy overvalue, it's very I think. We failed to validate the project. But if the risk comes from us, we liquidate the asset. So minimum, your initial capital back, minimum. So we liquidate the asset, no margin. That's the industry of property. And you don't worry about your money loss because the asset, the physics, still in the land.
So as an investor, I mean, I don't have any right to the property. You're going to have all the rights on the property. That's correct? You buy the properties, and we'll invest in you, not in the property. Right?
There is four focus investment. The first is housing. We finance the land. So we partnering with the small and medium developers, build the land, become house. Until that, if the house sold. Back the money from to the investor, and then go up like working capital.
Because what I understand that is foreigner.
Foreigner.
Cannot own the property in Indonesia.
You have to make a joint venture company maybe in Indonesia. Like a venture capital, and then go to our regulation in investment board. Our investment board and our OJK. So a very big market in Indonesia. Sumatra, Jawa, Kalimantan, Sulawesi. So many problem. In small and medium developer. Actually, the giant developers in Indonesia, they don't need money anymore. No need money anymore because of the land bank. They create a land bank maybe 30 years ago. But the small and medium developer, they don't have any money. They only have an access. They only have an information. The land is good. The land is hot deal. The land is undervalued, but they don't have money. So we become a property. Become a partner with them.
Okay, that's it for Q&A. Thank you.